Hey guys, welcome back to Hibiscus Motorsports. As you saw from the title, Jeep's got a pretty big issue. So let's take a look at what it is. Alrighty. So, I was originally going to be installing a brand new steering stabilizer. As you know, I found the other one I had a little loose and I retightened it and it just loosened up again, but it wasn't either of the bolts. They were still fully tight. So I was thinking to myself, okay, no big deal, maybe the bushings are bad. Took it off, the bushings looked fine. So I was very confused on what it was. So regardless, I have a new steering stabilizer, but then as I was installing it, I noticed something a bit odd. Anybody want to take a guess if your tie rods are supposed to do that? Just by hand? No? I'm gonna say no. I mean, all the grease exploded around here should have been a telltale sign to me that, you know, the actual ball joint was shot. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest, so that's a fault on me. But yeah, looks like you guys are gonna get some tie rod content. So let's get this done. So, what I was originally gonna be doing was just installing simply a new steering stabilizer. Because my old one, you know, when I got the car, I looked under here, it was loose. I tightened it back up, and it got loose again. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, huh, that's weird. So I checked both the nut up here and then the bolt over here for the mounting, and they were both super tight. So I was wondering, I'm like, huh, why is everything loose? You know, of course I already ordered a new steering stabilizer. And then when I was, you know, trying to install it, I accidentally hit the tie rod. And I realized something. Your tie rods are not supposed to be able to do this by hand. I mean, I'm putting no force on this, and these ball joints have so much play. So instead of a simple steering stabilizer, you guys are getting a little bit of a treat video today where we're doing entire full inner outer tie rods and the actual tie rods, bars, whatever you want to call these, everything up here, and then also the new steering stabilizer. Quick disclaimer, if you are going to be doing, you know, tie rods, these are what prevent your wheel from just, you know, doing this on its own. So, you know, definitely get an alignment after you're done installing new ones, things like that, because, you know, if you try to line it up by eye to the old ones, you know, maybe it's a little, the ball joint's a little bit further in, or further out, whatever, you know, and then you get hop in your car and your steering wheel's upside down and you're wondering what the hell happened. So definitely get alignment, just, you know, helps keep you safe, you know, make sure everything is mechanically sound and happy down here. But yeah, let's get right into the install. So I already took out the new steering stabilizer. I actually didn't even install it, and then I realized this, waited about, you know, 2-3 days for parts to show up, and now we're back at it. So first things first is removing all the castle nuts and cotter pins, you know, on all the ball joints up here. I already removed the cotter pin on this one, but I don't know about anybody else, I hate cotter pins. So instead of taking about 10 minutes of the video to just remove them, I'll get right back to you guys once they're removed. So again, just second little disclaimer, definitely when you're doing this, jack the car up. You know, you don't want to be removing the tie rods and suddenly when the wheels shifts either way and the whole car will come forwards at you. It does take more work, you know, lifting the car, and then you don't really have to take the wheels and tires off if it's in the air. If it makes it easier for you to, you definitely can. You know, they're way more, so they'll probably, you know, shift if you leave them on, but it's not like it's going to throw the car forwards or anything like that. But again, just keep yourself safe if you're doing something like this. And, you know, for those of you guys who are not doing this and just watching me for entertainment, I'm going to do this so I don't actually get ran over by my Jeep. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now, it's been probably like 20 minutes in real life time, but obviously it's just a skip ahead for you guys. All of the cotter pins are out. So now let's get to removing the 19 and 18 millimeter nuts on top of the ball joints. So with the first castle nut broken, you know, nice and free, I'm not gonna sit here and bang on this, you know, to get the actual ball joint out yet. First thing I'm gonna do is just to try to prevent the tires as they're off the ground from going anywhere. I'm gonna try to put a, you know, a jack stand, something maybe like right here to prevent the whole wheel assembly from wanting to turn. Just, you know, make it a little bit easier. Once we reassemble everything, get this back to, or, you know, put the new one into roughly the same length, I'll be able to pull the wheels back in to get them pretty close. And again, I am going to get an alignment after this, so it doesn't really matter. But again, I don't want to be driving to the alignment with, you know, my steering wheel, you know, all the way to the right or something like that, and just not a fun time. So definitely, you know, just a little tip if you're doing this to your own car, just, you know, try to prevent the front wheels from moving at all. But yeah, so what worked for me is, just as weird as it looks, just cramming jack stands in the tires, and hey, it actually works, so cool. So now, with that actual castle nut out and the wheels and tires held, now we're going to take a sledge and bang on the collar right here. Just make sure you can see that. Right here. So free the ball joint. So without further ado, let's get this done. So I loosened up all the castle nuts and just started hammering on it, and the side that connects to that hole right there that I showed was this side, and I hit that a couple times and it dropped, and then right when it dropped, the other side dropped. But this is what I mean. My jack stand kind of shifted out of the way when I was loosening that side. So you can see there's nothing holding this wheel straight anymore. It'll do whatever it wants. So that's the importance of tie rods. Definitely, you know, I mean, if we look at these, first of all, the boot is all torn up over here and all the grease is leaking out. And I mean, this is not good. If I can do this by hand, you hear that too? Literally just the grease is being squeezed out of it as it's all torn up and cracked. This is a very bad tie rod end link, or tie rod, you know, and those are the end links. Same thing this side. This side's is a little bit stiffer, but not much. But now we just got to work on getting this one out and then the other sides, and then it'll be time for new stuff. So without further ado, let's get right on that. You gotta love how I'm hammering up here, and somehow the tie rod end link for the right wheel decided to give first. So hey, I'm not gonna question it, just gonna remove this, and let's get to installing the new ones. Alrighty, well, as you can see, both tie rods are now out. Again, same thing, these bushings, or end links, sorry, super worn. I mean, look at this one. You can't even see what's the boot and what's grease anymore, and it's just absolutely no resistance to it. So, and if you're wondering what this is on a Jeep Cherokee XJ, this is the, I guess you could call it a bolt. It's more like a tapered bolt kind of thing. This sits right here for the steering stabilizer. I could not get it out for the life of me when I was originally trying to put in just the stabilizer. So I was gonna probably end up doing this anyway, but just I'll show it better on the actual new ones. But the adjustment for, you know, how far in and out the end links are from the tie rod is these. These are, flip it over. These are locking collars, and one side is going to have a right-handed thread, the other side is going to have a left-handed thread. The whole point of them is just, you thread them in, then you tighten these down pretty tight to, prevent this from obviously backing out, because that would be extremely dangerous. But yeah, so that's how you adjust the actual length left to right on the tie rods. So now let's get this one out of here. I have the old OEM one lined up with the new one. Obviously, as you can tell, the end links do not come pre-installed, so basically all you're going to do is, because I live in a state where, we get pretty rough winters, things rust, all that, so I'm going to be personally putting some grease on these and things like that, just to help prevent them from seizing up, because once once these seize up and the collar gets all, rusty and all that, it becomes extremely difficult to prevent, or to adjust them, I should say, for when you get an alignment and all that. I mean, again, if you're doing this, you should be getting alignment immediately. Don't wait, just try to get it done ASAP, or just don't drive the car until you get it done. But yeah, so effectively I'm just greasing them up. One side is going to be a right hand thread, one side is going to be a left hand thread. So this side itself, this side I believe is, if I can get it to work. Chances are, if you're struggling to get it in, it's probably the left hand thread side, as most things are right hand threads. But yeah, so basically just they thread in, I'm just gonna keep going with that, and then this little collar right here will lock down and make sure that it won't unthread. Alright, so as you can see, both new tie rod assemblies are fully built. Again, it's just put these in, measure, make sure, obviously when you get in alignment they're going to get moved, so it's not crazy critical. Put them in, tighten them in, try to get as close as you possibly can. Same thing on this one, and then just tighten down the nuts. That one's built into this rod, so you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, now it's time to fix the side to side. Alright, so the first side is roughly together, made sure the steering wheel is nice and straight. I'm sorry for the very jumpy kind of editing, or clips of more just me kind of getting it done rather than a time lapse, as it's starting to get kind of dark outside. This is my daily, as I've said 10,000 times, and you gotta love how quick camera batteries die. So again, I'm very sorry about that, but yeah, now we're gonna connect the other side. I'll explain how the steering stabilizer connects, how it works, and yeah, then we'll be able to wrap this video up and call it a day. Alrighty, and with that, and a slight lighting difference, as it's probably been like an hour, all the castle nuts for the ball joints are tightened and cotter pinned. So now it's time to just install the new steering stabilizer, and yeah, that's about it. So let's get right on that. So first things first, let's talk about what a steering stabilizer even is. So effectively, this is basically just like similar to, a shock or a strut, whatever you call it, in your, your suspension, where the whole point of it is to dampen, quick forces on it. So this helps reduce wear on all the ball joints and all that within your suspension. Like, I mean, as you saw before, all these ball joints in my tie rods are shot. Chances are that stabilizer that was on there, the OEM one, before, probably wasn't the most effective, and then it eventually got replaced, and was still, obviously they need to be replaced after now, 20 years. But yeah, so that's really about how these things work. It's just, if they get a big force, it obviously will compress in or get pulled out depending. But yeah, it's just simply, effectively look at it like yet another, shock on your car, just to help dampen quick forces. Alright, so now what we need to do is, this is the tapered bolt, I guess. I don't really know the name for it, but this will just go up in here and just sit nice like that. And then we have a washer, a lock nut, and then when I was trying to install the other steering stabilizer, I couldn't get the old one out of these, tried to put the new nut on it. Long story short, it stripped, so I went to a local hardware store, got a grade 8 bolt. It'll work fine, if not even better than what the kit originally came with. So we're just gonna put these on up here and then start getting the stabilizer on. So next is actually getting the stabilizer mounted. So as you can see, there's a non-moving side and obviously a moving side. The moving side goes up here, the non-moving side will go over here. I'll show you when we're installing that. But effectively, you just get it on to where it needs to go. Lock washer nut, same thing, just right up top. And yeah, then it is a little hard if you're using any impact guns or anything, have to get them back there, so I would just use either a socket or an open end wrench. And then the actual rear end of the stabilizer will fall right in here. Sorry for the pretty crappy lighting. Alrighty, I'm sorry for the poor lighting. I think I'm gonna have to switch the times where I do Miata stuff and Jeep stuff, because I don't know why. I mean, it's still pretty sunny out, but just obviously we're away from the light. But it always is the worst possible lighting for the Jeep. But yeah, so the steering stabilizer, you know, this bolt is back in nice and tight. You know, it's not wiggling side to side like it was before. And this is all nice and tight, and everything else is. So now it's time to clean everything up, move the jack stands out of the way. And even though the alignment is going to be a little off, we're going to take it for a little test drive and see how much more, you know, stiff the steering feels after this. So yeah. Alrighty guys, well, that's going to do it for this video. I just took it on a test drive. Obviously didn't drive great. I think the right side, or the left side, sorry, I think the tire is a little towed in, because as I was driving here, a little bit of chirping and everything, that the tire feels pretty warm compared to what it normally does on a test drive. So again, alignment will take care of that. The right side seems fine. I should just love living right where people always drive by. But yeah, so that's about it. You know, thank you so much for watching. Quick, real fast, before we say our usual, you know, peace and all that. June 25th. For any of you who live near Lime Rock, you know, the racetrack, Lime Rock Park, where I did my autocross with modified machines, on June 25th, there's going to be a big car show called Gears in Heaven. If I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be there. The Jeep and the Miata are both going to be there. If you know, want to stop by, meet me, say hi, all that, you know. But it's for amazing cause, you know, all that. So if you are available that day, I would love to see you guys there. So thank you so much for watching. Peace.